Welcome to Forgotten Voices, where we uncover the untold stories of history. Few figures have captured the imagination quite like Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt. She has been portrayed as a seductress, a cunning strategist, and a tragic heroine. But who was the real Cleopatra? Beyond the myths and legends lies the story of a ruler who fought to preserve her kingdom in the face of one of the greatest empires the world has ever known. Cleopatra's life is a tale of ambition, brilliance, and resilience, a woman who dared to defy the might of Rome. Today, we'll dive into Cleopatra's life, unravel the politics, the power, and the legacy of a woman who dared to challenge an empire and change the course of history. Cleopatra VII was born in 69 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty, a Macedonian Greek family that had ruled Egypt since the days of Alexander the Great. For nearly 300 years, the Ptolemies had maintained control over Egypt, but by Cleopatra's time, the dynasty was rife with internal strife and corruption. To make matters worse, Egypt was under increasing pressure from Rome, a growing superpower that saw the rich and fertile Nile Valley as a tempting prize. Despite her Greek ancestry, Cleopatra embraced the culture of Egypt like no ruler before her. She was one of the few Ptolemies who learned to speak the Egyptian language fluently, a move that endeared her to the people and cemented her image as a true pharaoh. She styled herself as the living embodiment of the goddess Isis, blending religion and politics into a powerful image of divine authority. But Cleopatra's path to power was anything but smooth. When her father, Ptolemy XII, died in 51 BCE, Cleopatra became co-ruler alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. However, their relationship quickly turned hostile. Cleopatra was not one to share power lightly, and her ambitions clashed with the interests of those around her. Forced into exile by her brother's advisors, Cleopatra fled Egypt, but she was determined to reclaim her throne. Her opportunity came in 48 BCE when Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria. Egypt was in the midst of a civil war, and Caesar, ever the opportunist, sought to mediate the conflict. Cleopatra, however, knew she had to make a bold move to secure his support. In one of the most famous stories from her life, she smuggled herself into Caesar's quarters, wrapped in a carpet or a linen sack depending on the account, and pleaded her case. Caesar, impressed by her audacity, intelligence, and charisma, became her ally. Together, they defeated Ptolemy XIII's forces, and Cleopatra was restored as pharaoh, this time as the sole ruler. Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar has often been reduced to tales of romance, but their alliance was far more complex. For Cleopatra, aligning herself with Caesar was a strategic move. Egypt's independence was hanging by a thread, and Rome was the dominant force in the Mediterranean. By securing Caesar's support, Cleopatra not only stabilized her rule, but also ensured Egypt's survival as an autonomous kingdom. Their relationship also had a personal dimension. Cleopatra and Caesar had a son, Ptolemy XV, better known as Caesarion. Cleopatra hoped that Caesarion would one day unite the worlds of Rome and Egypt, creating a powerful empire that could rival any in history. But Cleopatra's ambitions extended far beyond her personal life. She envisioned a revitalized Egypt, a cultural and economic powerhouse that could regain its former glory. Under her reign, Egypt flourished. Cleopatra invested in agriculture, strengthened trade networks, and secured the loyalty of her people. She was a shrewd diplomat and a master of propaganda, presenting herself as the savior of Egypt's heritage and the protector of its future. However, Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE changed everything. With Caesar gone, Rome was plunged into chaos, and Cleopatra's position became precarious. The young queen now faced a new challenge, navigating the dangerous political landscape of a divided Rome. Among the many power players of Rome, one man stood out, Mark Antony. A charismatic general and a member of the Second Triumvirate, Antony sought to consolidate his power in the eastern provinces. Cleopatra, ever the strategist, saw in Antony an opportunity to secure Egypt's future. Their meeting in 41 BCE has become the stuff of legend. Cleopatra, knowing the importance of first impressions, arrived in Tarsus in a spectacular display of wealth and power. She sailed up the Cydnus River on a gilded barge dressed as the goddess Aphrodite. Antony, captivated by her presence, quickly fell under her spell. But their relationship was more than just passion. Cleopatra and Antony formed a powerful political alliance. Together, they envisioned an Eastern empire that could rival Rome. Their union produced 3 children, and for a time it seemed as though their ambitions might succeed. However, their growing power alarmed Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir and Antony's rival. Octavian portrayed Cleopatra as a manipulative foreign queen who had corrupted Antony and threatened Roman values. His propaganda campaign was relentless, painting Cleopatra as the enemy of Rome. The conflict came to a head in 31 BCE at the Battle of Actium. Antony and Cleopatra's forces were decisively defeated by Octavian's navy. The dream of an Eastern empire was shattered, and Antony and Cleopatra were forced to retreat to Egypt. The final chapter of Cleopatra's life is one of tragedy and defiance. With Octavian's forces closing in, Antony took his own life, believing Cleopatra to be dead. Cleopatra, however, was very much alive, but she now faced an impossible choice: surrender to Rome and endure the humiliation of being paraded through the streets as a captive, or take control of her own fate. According to legend, Cleopatra chose the latter. She arranged for a venomous asp to be brought to her chamber, and with its bite, she ended her life. Whether this account is true or not remains a subject of debate among historians. Some suggest she may have used poison instead. Whatever the method, Cleopatra's death in 30 BCE marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and Egypt's independence. The once great kingdom was absorbed into the Roman Empire, and its ancient traditions began to fade into history. Cleopatra's story has been shaped by those who wrote it. Roman historians like Plutarch often portrayed her as a manipulative seductress, reducing her achievements to tales of romance and scandal. But this image does her a great disservice. Cleopatra was a brilliant leader, a scholar fluent in multiple languages, and a diplomat who fought fiercely for her people. Her legacy endures as a symbol of resilience and ambition. Cleopatra's life reminds us that history is often written by the victors, but the voices of those who defied them continue to resonate. She was the last pharaoh of Egypt, the last guardian of a civilization that had endured for millennia. And though she lost the battle for her kingdom, she won immortality through her story. At Forgotten Voices, we aim to give life to these untold stories, to shine a light on the figures who have been misunderstood, misrepresented, or forgotten. Cleopatra's story is a testament to the power of narrative and the power of one woman to stand against an empire. Cleopatra was more than a queen. She was a force of nature, a ruler who dared to dream of a world where Egypt could stand on equal footing with Rome. Her story is one of ambition, sacrifice, and the enduring struggle for independence. What's your take on Cleopatra? Was she a tragic heroine, a political genius, or something more? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're as fascinated by history as we are, don't forget to subscribe to Forgotten Voices. Together, we'll uncover the hidden stories of the past that continue to shape our world today. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep listening to the whispers of history.